Have you ever found yourself in a constant state of worry, or perhaps you felt an intense fear that just won't go away? Could these feelings be symptoms of an anxiety disorder? Today, we'll delve into the world of anxiety disorders, shedding light on what they are and how they manifest. We'll explore the common symptoms, take a closer look at how they can affect everyday life, and discuss coping strategies. So, without further ado, let's dive in to understand more about the common symptoms of anxiety disorders. Anxiety disorders are a group of mental health conditions characterized by feelings of anxiety or fear. These are not just passing worries or a case of the jitters that everyone experiences from time to time. Rather, they are intense, often debilitating emotions that can interfere with daily activities, relationships, and overall quality of life. Anxiety disorders comprise a broad category that includes various conditions, such as generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social anxiety disorder, and specific phobias, among others. Each of these conditions have their own unique set of symptoms, but all are rooted in excessive, persistent fear and worry in situations that are not threatening. Despite their prevalence, anxiety disorders are still often misunderstood. They are not due to a lack of willpower or character flaw. They are serious medical conditions that can affect anyone, regardless of age, gender, race, or socioeconomic background. It's important to note that having an anxiety disorder does not mean a person is weak or incapable. In fact, many individuals living with these disorders lead full, productive lives. However, without proper understanding and treatment, anxiety disorders can become overwhelming. Recognizing the symptoms of anxiety disorders is the first step towards managing them. They are real, they are common, and most importantly, they are treatable. So let's delve deeper into understanding these symptoms and how to cope with them in the next parts of this video. The symptoms of anxiety disorders can be physical, psychological, or both. They can be as subtle as a nagging sense of unease or as overwhelming as a full-blown panic attack. Understanding these symptoms is the first step towards managing them and towards a healthier, happier life. Let's start with excessive worry. This is often the most identifiable symptom of anxiety disorders. It's not just the occasional stress about a work deadline or an upcoming exam. It's a chronic, persistent worry that's out of proportion to the situation, and it can feel impossible to control. Next, we have restlessness. This isn't just physical agitation, though that can certainly be a part of it. It's a feeling of being on edge, of not being able to sit still or focus. It's a constant sense of unease that can be difficult to put into words. Fatigue is another common symptom. This isn't just feeling tired after a long day, it's a deep, pervasive exhaustion that doesn't seem to improve with rest. It's like trying to run a marathon with weights strapped to your ankles. Difficulty concentrating can also be a symptom of anxiety disorders. It can feel like your mind is foggy, like you're trying to think through treacle. Tasks that were once easy can become frustratingly difficult. Irritability can be another sign. You might find yourself snapping at loved ones, or getting frustrated with minor inconveniences. It's like your patience is a thin thread that's constantly being stretched to its limit. Sleep problems are also common. You might find it hard to fall asleep or to stay asleep. You might have nightmares or wake up feeling like you haven't rested at all. And finally, panic attacks. These are sudden, intense bouts of fear that can include palpitations, sweating, shaking, shortness of breath, and a sense of impending doom. They're incredibly distressing, but remember, they're also incredibly common. Remember, everyone's experience with anxiety disorders is unique and symptoms may vary. But by recognizing these symptoms, you're already taking the first step towards understanding and managing your anxiety. Scene script. Let's delve deeper into some of these symptoms. First off, let's talk about excessive worrying. This is not your typical worry about an upcoming test kind of concern. With an anxiety disorder, the worrying is often out of proportion to the situation and persists even when there's no apparent trigger. It can interfere with daily functions, casting a shadow over all aspects of life, from work to relationships. Next up is agitation. Anxiety can trigger your body's fight-or-flight response, resulting in a surge of adrenaline. This can lead to symptoms like a racing heart, sweaty palms, shaky hands or legs, and a dry mouth. It's like a constant state of tension, making it hard for a person to relax or even sleep. Speaking of sleep, that brings us to our next symptom: sleep disturbances. People with anxiety often struggle with falling asleep, staying asleep, or restless, unsatisfying sleep. They may spend their nights tossing and turning, their minds racing with worries. Then there's fatigue. This might seem contradictory given the heightened state of arousal that anxiety can cause, but it's quite common. This fatigue isn't always relieved by sleep, which can leave a person feeling perpetually tired. Moving on, concentration problems often tag along with anxiety disorders. The constant worrying can make it difficult to focus on tasks. It's like trying to read a book during a thunderstorm. The distractions are just too loud. Lastly, let's touch on irritability. This is more than just a bad mood. People with anxiety disorders may find themselves easily upset, distressed, or even angry. This can strain relationships and make social situations particularly challenging. These symptoms are not just a list, they are a glimpse into the daily reality for many people living with anxiety disorders. They can be debilitating, impacting every corner of a person's life. But remember, recognizing these symptoms is the first step towards seeking help. Understanding these symptoms can help you or a loved one seek the help needed. Living with an anxiety disorder can be challenging, but there are ways to cope. It's like navigating a stormy sea. The waters may be rough, but with the right tools you can make your journey smoother. One of the most essential tools in your coping toolbox is therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is often the go-to approach. It helps you understand your thoughts and behaviors and how they influence your anxiety. Picture it as a roadmap, showing you the patterns of your anxiety and guiding you towards healthier thought processes. Another form of therapy is exposure therapy, which might sound a bit intimidating, but it's about facing and understanding your fears, rather than avoiding them. It's like standing at the edge of the water, gradually wading in until you're comfortable swimming in the deep end. But therapy isn't the only tool you have at your disposal. Medication can also play a crucial role. Antidepressants, anti-anxiety drugs, and certain types of sedatives can help manage the physical symptoms of anxiety. It's important to remember that medication isn't a cure-all, but more like a life jacket. It keeps you afloat, but you still need to learn how to swim. Then, there's the power of lifestyle changes. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, adequate sleep, and mindfulness practices like meditation can all work wonders. Think of these as your personal weather forecast, helping you anticipate and prepare for anxiety storms before they hit. Above all, don't underestimate the importance of seeking professional help. Your journey through anxiety is uniquely yours, and a mental health professional can provide a tailored plan to navigate your specific challenges. They're the experienced captain guiding your ship through the stormy waters. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. You're not alone in this. Just like a ship is never alone in the sea, there are always people ready to lend a hand, to guide you, to support you. You're not just a passive passenger in your journey with anxiety, you're the captain of your ship, and with the right tools, you can navigate any storm. Anxiety disorders are more than just feeling anxious or stressed. As we've learned from our journey together in this video, they are complex conditions that manifest in a multitude of ways, each unique to the individual. We delved into the common symptoms of anxiety disorders, understanding that these symptoms can be physical, like heart palpitations and shortness of breath, or cognitive, such as persistent worry and fear. We also learned that these disorders are not just about the presence of these symptoms, but also about the degree to which they interfere with a person's life. This interference can range from mild hindrances to severe obstacles, affecting everything from personal relationships to professional pursuits. We took a deep dive into these symptoms, examining how they can take hold of a person's daily life. We discovered that anxiety disorders can make ordinary tasks seem insurmountable. But it's important to remember that these feelings are not indicative of a person's strength or worth. We can't talk about these disorders without discussing their management. Coping mechanisms form a crucial part of dealing with anxiety disorders. But remember, what works for one person may not work for another. Individualized strategies, often developed with the help of a mental health professional, can be key to managing these symptoms and improving quality of life. Awareness and understanding are paramount when it comes to anxiety disorders. As we increase our knowledge about these conditions, we chip away at the stigma that surrounds mental health. We pave the way for more compassion, more empathy, and more effective treatment options. But it's not just about understanding the condition, it's about understanding the person. Every individual facing an anxiety disorder has their own story, their own struggles, and their own strengths. We must strive to see them, not just their condition. Understanding anxiety disorders is the first step towards compassion, support, and effective treatment. Remember, mental health matters.